Hello, everyone.
Hi.
My crazy wife, Naomi. I'm
Hot
AJ.
mess.
She's a hot mess quite often, but that's because of EB. So anyhow, we want to welcome everybody to this is the official start of EB Awareness Week. It goes from October 25th to the 31st. We thought this year, because last year we didn't really participate much, or didn't really know about EB Awareness Week until really our son was born. He was born the week before, basically. And we thought we'd just do something really fun, and kind of, do a video series. We release a video every day.
And educate.
Just describing various things that we have discovered as we've been going through this EB journey for the past year. For this video here, we're going to talk about EB in general and what we've learned about it. I mean, there's, some other topics that we're going to be doing is around the financial stress that EB causes, normal things that we have to deal with EB, whether that be common cold. You have to treat a common cold differently. So things like that we'll talk about in other videos. Social life, siblings, and what they're going to what they go through and how they're affected um, with EB in terms of how we can spend time with them and so forth. From the mental, spiritual, physical draining that EB causes. Those are some of the topics we're going to cover, and there's some other things we're going to look at doing. But so in this one here, we're just going to talk about EB. So I'm going to give it to my wife so she can describe kind of what EB is, and then we're going to go from there. Are you ready?
I guess so.
Do it.
All right. What is EB? And of course, you're going to make me say this without butchering it, so excuse me. So it's Epidermolysis Bullosa, shortened down EB, otherwise known as butterfly skin.
Not bad. Pretty good. I'll say you did pretty good.
So pretty much what it is what we tell people in the community and everything is that our son Landon is missing the glue to keep all the layers of skin intact and everything. So any type of trauma or friction, rubbing, things like that can cause the skin to tear, blister, or fall off if it's been a chronic issue for so long and everything.
Okay. I mean, and then there's, and of course, there's various types. With it. So there's, um, EB simplex, and then of course there's various subtypes of simplex. And then there's dystrophic EB, which has two types, dominant and recessive. And then there's the one that I always call, I always call it it's the nasty one, is junctional, because it's very rare compared to them. But, those are the various types of it. Did you want to describe the one that our son has? Or just tell him what our son has?
Well, Landon has recessive dystrophic EB.
I mean, right now we're still learning about it. I mean, we're only a year into life with EB.
What are the odds that Landon got EB?
1 in 20,000 on average. Somebody in the U.S. is born with EB, but then when you get down to the recessive level, it's like 6.5 per million, and then as we're learning more about his genetic results and reading research articles and talking with others, our son's mutations tend to fall in the HS and non-HS categories, which are the more severe types. Which we still don't know if he's gonna end up in that area or not, but that's what the mutations show, and those can fall less than 1 per million born with it, so it's can be pretty rare. One thing about EB, there is no cure, there's no treatments in terms of helping. Right now, really, the only things you can do in terms of treatments is prevention and daily wound care, lancing blisters, checking for infections, and just trying to do all those things that make sure that your child has a quality of life. I mean, there's various clinical trials out there. There's some topical ointments. There's some um, gene therapy type testing out there. There's bone marrow transplants, which kind of help potentially slow down the progression and the disease and help increase quality of life. I mean, and there's so many others out there, but those are some of the ones that are seem to be leading the way right now. I will pass it over to my wife to talk about the community side of things because she's been really connected in with the EB community.
Yeah, the EV community has been very helpful. In the beginning, I kind of shied away just because I was just so overwhelmed with everything going on with Landon, and I just needed to gather my thoughts and just everything so I can just come to peace with it. And then when I started to reach out and everything, I felt like I'm home because I'm not the only one that's gone through this and everything. We had an issue back in December where I don't want to say lost it, but I completely lost it when had we had some trauma issues with Landon, and I was able to vent on there, and all the moms came up and just say, "Hey, we've been through this. You've got it. Just hang in there. Don't give up." Things like that. And now, since I've been have about a year underneath my belt, I'm able to reach out to new parents in the EV community and just say, "Hey, guys, you guys are doing great. Just push through. We've all been, I've been in your shoes before. We all have, and just being there for them and just lending them a hand if they just need somebody to talk to." Also, in community here in our hometown of Perrysburg, they've been very helpful too and everything, especially if we go out to the grocery store picking up his meds, workers, just know who we are, laughing with Landon, playing with him and everything. They just don't look at him like, "Oh, what's wrong with your child?" Or is he, he looks like a burn patient and everything. But a lot of the community just are now just open handedly, they just know who we are. And like I said, we're not going to shelter Landon. We want him to be out and about and learn because he's
Well,
just a normal baby.
yeah, I mean, it also helps, getting him out there, not letting, not keeping him, in the bubble of the house. It also helps getting out there. It also helps, with awareness. One being EB Awareness Week. Being out there, going to community events, getting involved, um, and so forth. But it also helps in educating. Because that's the number one thing is awareness and educating people on the disease. Um, and so,
I mean, we're not going out and just like, "Hey, look at our son." No, we're not like that. So whatever, we're just like, we can just be at a park and Landon, and we're pushing Landon in the swing, and a mom comes up and everything, and pushing their child, and we just do small talk, and
yeah.
that's when we let them approach us about it. We don't approach them and everything. So,
Oh yeah. I mean, and the other piece of it is, you've had this frustration, and I've kind of come in um, recently
mhm.
with helping kind of go full bore on this, but nursing
Oh gosh,
has
yes.
been has been insane. And I mean, and other EB moms and families and out there can attest to that how hard it is for
And
finding a nurse, a quality nurse that's going to be helpful.
yeah, and you want to think with us being so close to major universities here. I mean, we got at least three main nursing colleges here in the Toledo area and everything. So you want to think, hey, you can be able to find a skilled nurse here or an LPN or RN. Well, there are LPN and RNs, but they're working in hospital settings. But then if you try to get them into a home health aide, that's where the pay cuts come. And a lot of them, the
Yeah.
reason why we couldn't nail them down is because they couldn't afford the pay cut because of the cost of living and everything. So it was a battle since Landon was 20 days old and everything.
That's going to be key for us to really get some stability back in the house. I mean, it's been taxing to say the least, and we'll go in more into that when we talk about the fainter topic this week. How
And
much?
mental topic too.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been insane. I mean, but I mean, the other piece that's been great for us has been we've got a phenomenal team of doctors we have found up here in the Toledo area here. We live in Perrysburg, Ohio, and we live next to to a major metro city. Toledo, and it's been great. The doctors and stuff we have here. I mean, our dermatologist has been nothing short of amazing.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he knows things before we know things.
Mhm.
Like in terms of, do we get denied for something or this or that? He knows before we do. Like he's on it, and like he's always calling personally.
Mhm.
Not one of his nurses or assistants. He's calling saying, "Hey, I went ahead and took care of that." Yada yada yada. He's been phenomenal. I mean,
Yep, and like I said, his staff does call us once in a while to check up on Landon and us, making sure that how we're doing because we only go now. We're in the 6 month stretch with visits, so but they check in on us to make sure how he's doing and everything. He refers to great specialists also. Landon actually just got referred to a wonderful GI nutritionist or dietitian, just amazing, open armed and everything. They weren't afraid to to dive on in with the EB, while other doctors were like, "Oh, hold on, he has EB. Well, we don't know what we want to do." So they're yeah.
that's always a challenge with doctors. Is finding good doctors who are willing to jump
Listen,
in, step in, and just simply
and then
be and learn and
listen to
listen
us.
to us. We connect them down to the team down at Cincinnati at the EB clinic down there, Cincinnati, Ohio. But I mean, the nice thing of it is our derm. He's had experience with EB when he went through clinicals.
Hmm.
Um, my wife mentioned that is it the GI doctor,
The
the
nutritionist,
nutritionist, had
dietitian,
experience with some EB. He said,
with some EB patients also because she was working with the G tubes
yeah.
specialist and everything. And then his eye doctors, his cornea specialist and ophthalmologist at Cleveland Clinic are just they're phenomenal too. I mean, they've heard of EB but never came across with anybody with EB, and they just open handed like, hey, we're going to help you and everything. So, and they're great because they're like a research hospital on top of it.
Well, I mean, the crazy part of it is they're a major hospital in terms of in the country. Cleveland Clinic's one of the top in the country. I think like the Mayo Clinic's like the only one that's really ahead of it in terms of the
Research.
things researched in hospital and breakthroughs and just all around care. And they, their eye team was not dealt with EB.
Mm-mm.
That's just it's amazing how that's how rare this thing is. But the last piece on EB is, I mean, there's variety of research organizations out there and other organizations that are they're working to you know raise money funds for research for helping families. One that's been a great help for us has been Deborah
Hmm.
of America, at Deborah.org, website, check it out. But they've been great coming alongside with us and other families. When we were still fighting the
Insurance.
insurance and wound care suppliers and so forth. We were running out of supplies, and I went online to their wound care supply order form, filled it out, and exactly 2 days later, a giant box full of supplies, more than we really needed, showed up, and we were set. Another one that's been big in research funding has been the EB Research Partnership that Eddie Vedder from
Pearl
Pearl Jam.
Jam.
I got it right this time. So, man, in your face. I always screw it up. I always say Van Halen or something. I'm like, where did I get that from? Anyhow,
He needs to learn his music.
it's not learning my music. It's just learning who's in the bands for crying out loud. EB Research Foundation at ebresearch.org. They're a great resource to read up on EB as well. See what they're researching, where they're focusing, how they're helping families. I mean, they're all helping families,
Fine.
educating people, and raising money for research. The one day find a cure or a treatment or something to help people with EB.
Hmm.
Another one is the EB Medical Research Foundation at ebmrf.org. They're a great resource that describes EB, helps families, does
Hmm.
research, helps whatever. And then of course there's tons of Facebook groups out there, multiple Facebook groups that we're part of. A lot of them are private groups, so you can vet,
Your frustration
safely, not feel, they're great places to go, just vet
without having a
frustrations,
target
things,
on your back is just
and
like,
not being shamed, 'cause
yeah.
today's world with social media, it seems like everybody wants to shame you for something. Like, oh, you shouldn't do that. Or why are you doing that? No, these groups are very open, very understanding, because again, they're going through it just like we are.
And like everybody says it's trial and error. Trial
Yeah.
and error. Even though it might work for your child or yourself, doesn't mean it's going to work for our
Yeah.
child
Hmm.
or yourself.
And that's the one thing that when whenever I give advice to any EB family, whether it was at the DCC, because I talked to a lot of families and we exchanged ideas, but also when I'm talking to them on these community groups, and I'm like, now I'm gonna tell you up front, this might work. This works for our son, but I can't guarantee it's going to work for yours because we've tried other techniques that families have done on their kids, and it's only exponentially increased Landon's damage and wounds. So it's
We had to
that's the
cut off.
why there's no at the end of the day, that's why there's no cut and dry. Here's how you deal with
It's not a
EB.
manual. There's no instruction manual on how to treat EB. None.
No, because it's so different from case to case, person to person, kid to kid, etc. It's insane. But I mean, with that, I mean, we've kind of covered a lot. We've talked a lot. This is a long video. Hope I can maybe cut it down. We'll see. But this is the first video of 6 videos we're going to do, and then we're
Mhm.
hoping to potentially do a live video, maybe bring in some EV families on a Facebook live session, and just have a conversation. Um, on the last day, I think it's the 31st. I know it's tough. It's trick or treat. We're taking our kiddos out, including Landon, which is going to be in his walker, which is going to be a race car.
Yeah, which we still have to customize. So.
Well, it's in the garage out here. I'm working on it still. Um, anyhow, but hope maybe some families who watch this or other, EB organizations, maybe want to, have somebody come join us on a Facebook live session on that day, and just have a conversation and just, talk about EB and things we're doing and learning and so forth, but just have a nice candid conversation. But anyhow, that's going to conclude this video. Be on the lookout for the other ones in the coming days. And again, please share this video. I know it's long, but share it, or just really, at the end of the day, just tell people about EB.
Spread the word.
Direct people to resources. Tell them to go learn about it, read about it. The more people we have educated about this, talking about it, talking to their representatives, constituents, and so forth, we're going to end this. And we hope you all have a great EB Awareness Week, and go from there.
All right. Night, guys.